So as you are probably by now aware, I'm living with an EV, specifically the MG ZS EV. But I want to find out more about the best practices in charging and the UK's charging network as a whole. And where better to do that than with BP Chargemaster here in Luton. I'm joined by Communications Director Tom Callow. Tom, hello.
Afternoon, Phil.
And we're going to find out a bit more about, well, like I said, best charging practices and how the UK's infrastructure for electric vehicle charging is expanding. So, Tom, first of all, could you show us the best way of making sure that you do charge the vehicle correctly?
So we've got obviously the MG ZS here. We've got two of our 50 kilowatt rapid chargers here that we make down the road in Luton. These are the kind of chargers you'd find, say, at the side of the motorway, somewhere you'd spend maybe half an hour to an hour maximum. So you're not plugging into these for a long time, they're for a quick charge. We now obviously are rolling out the fast rate of charging, the 150 kilowatt chargers, which cars like the MG will benefit from because obviously it's got a higher charge rate. It can charge up to 85 kilowatts at peak. So we'll show you a 50 kilowatt charger here. So just need to pop the charge flap on the car first. Up they go. Just remove the little dust covers there. And on the charger here, all of our rapid chargers, our new rollout is having a contactless bank payment as the sort of standard pay-as-you-go access. Okay. But we've also got a subscription product, so more regular users can benefit from that in terms of the price. And you can access this in either method. So as a subscriber, via a pay-as-you-go app, or even with a contactless bank card that you'd have in your wallet. Easy. You just simply tap the screen. If you're a subscriber, you scan your RFID card on the unit, hearing a welcome message. The screen's really simple. It's just a sort of a touchscreen interface with all the connectors shown on there. So you just pick the connector you need, which on the MG here is the CCS connector. I think it's really important that people don't necessarily need to know what that means. All you need is it's a hole, it's a socket, and you simply pick the connector that you fit in the right place. So in they go. And that is how long it takes to charge an EV. So that will just power up gradually. The unit will come online and charge the car at a maximum rate of 50 kilowatts for as long as it needs it. Perfect.
And in terms of the charging infrastructure in the UK, where is it currently? Because obviously a lot of people are worried about the fact that they might be miles away from a charging point or anything like that, or there's not anything around there that they can plug their vehicle into. So are these unfounded?
I think overall, the overall picture is that there's enough charging infrastructure in the UK today in general to service the EV park that's there. And what's really important is that infrastructure is only going to grow from here. There's established kind of business cases and models around that now. I would say visibility of charging infrastructure at the moment is probably not great. People probably aren't aware of the chargers that are near them. So if you go on a website like the Polar Network website, or ZapMap is an aggregator website, and actually look in your area, if you don't drive an EV, you'll actually probably be surprised at the number of charging points that are quite nearby, but you might not have seen them. So they might be in a car park. If you're not an EV driver, you probably don't look for charging points. It's quite understandable. One of the things we're doing with our rollout of the fast charge on BP forecourts is obviously very visible, quite large chargers where you're filling up with petrol and diesel already. So a lot of people are actually seeing the chargers there while they're filling their internal combustion engine car. So visibility of charging infrastructure is really important to make people see what's out there and give them confidence to make the switch.
And on that, obviously, Chargemaster acquired by BP is kind of a statement of intent.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, it's. I think people can understand now it's not a flash in the pan. EV technology is here to stay. What are the plans for BP Chargemaster going forwards?
So we're going to carry on rolling out our public charging network with obviously BP. One great thing is that obviously one of the challenges is land with EV infrastructure. Generally it's sort of land and power. There's lots of sort of capital going in, there's lots of money going into the EV charging sector in the UK. That's not generally a problem. But still some of the challenges are around sort of access to land and access to power. You can generally kind of find and pay for power, but you've got to have the land. And obviously what BP's got is a great, fantastic network of 1,200 forecourts across the UK. It owns a lot of those forecourts, and we can obviously start rolling out on those sites. It's a very logical place to charge, particularly quickly charge if you think about it. It's the kind of place you'd spend sort of 10-15 minutes anyway. There's usually a shop there that's quite useful. With BP company-owned sites, for example, you've got the M&S Simply Food offer, Wild Bean Cafe, all those kind of things. So it's actually quite a convenient place to stop, rather than say round the back of a sort of dirty industrial estate where there's no facilities, for example.
Exactly. Just one other thing, there's always been this worry that there's not going to be enough power. Again, National Grid is obviously working on that, rolling that out. Not everyone's going to plug in at the same time, are they? So again, are these how's National Grid sort of working towards?
Sure, so National Grid would tell you that there's two things to consider really. There's the overall energy demand, so the overall amount of energy, if you like, the amount of charge you need, let's say, per year. And then there's the sort of demand at any one time. So in terms of the overall amount of energy that we need to generate to power electric vehicles, National Grid's pretty comfortable that we'll get there. It's going to add about 10%, something like that, on the total electricity demand of the UK today. So it's not sort of dramatic, it's not going to double it or anything like that. So it will be significant, but we'll get there, and there's a hell of a lot of renewable power coming on now, obviously. Renewables generating up to 50% of a daily electricity now in the UK, with coal kind of going offline almost at some points. The second part of that equation around sort of demand of power is where there might be more challenges. So it's about, is there enough power for sort of all of that charging in that one place to happen at the same time? And a lot of that will be sort of served with smart charging. And what that's all about is adjusting the rate of charge on the vehicle. So not really chargers like this that are going to give you the full whack, but things like home chargers, that's really where the demand is going to be for sort of localised networks. So, if you and I live next door to each other, at the moment, it's unlikely we'll plug in actually at the same time every night anyway. 1 in 20 roughly drivers plug in every night with their EV today. So that's not that many, and battery sizes are getting bigger, so you'll plug in probably less often. And it's about adjusting the rate of charge, so sort of taking your charger down in terms of the speed of charge, but also the time of charge, really importantly. So the electricity demand in the UK kind of peaks in the evening today without EVs, so that's everyone watching television, cooking dinner, obviously, kettles going on as the footy's on, etc., as everyone always says. And EVs kind of follow that profile. So think about it, you get home, you plug in, it's got a logical thing to do if you need to charge. What you can do with an EV though is you can get home, you can plug in, but actually nothing will happen if you don't want it to for, say, several hours. So you can program our smart chargers, you can program this car to charge off peak. So you can say don't charge until, for example, midnight. And one of the ways that's going to be incentivised is through intelligent electricity tariffs. So one of the ones I'm on, for example, gives me very cheap charging at about 5 pence per kilowatt hour for sort of 4 or 5 hours a night. So I can schedule my EV to charge in that period. Not only does that benefit the grid, but it also benefits my bank account.
Of course. Excellent. Tom, that's brilliant. Thanks very much.
No
Thanks very much.
Great. Thanks. Cheers, Phil.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Cheers.